All right, let's talk about a word that many of us think we know. It's a Pāli word, Anicca, and for centuries, it's been a pillar of Buddhist teaching. But what if the way we've understood it has only been half the story? What if there's something deeper, something much more personal, hiding in plain sight?
I mean, just think about that for a second. What if one of the most important keys to understanding our own daily struggles, our suffering, has been just a little bit off? Not wrong, maybe, but incomplete. That's a pretty huge idea, and it's exactly what we're going to unpack today. So to get started, we have to look at the common view. You know, the definition that you'll find in most books, the one we've all been taught for a very, very long time.
And that conventional translation is impermanence. It's this observation that, well, everything is always changing. Flowers bloom and then they wilt. Relationships begin and they end. Nothing lasts forever. But think about the perspective here. It's kind of passive, isn't it? It's like you're a spectator, sitting on a bench, just watching the world go by and noting, yep, things sure do change.
But here's where it gets really interesting. What if that's not the whole picture? Thanks to some modern tech and a new way of looking at ancient languages, this old definition is being seriously challenged. And the result is, well, it's a game changer.
Now, this isn't just someone's opinion. This is based on a really cool multi-step linguistic analysis. First, they used big data to scan all the ancient Pāli texts to see how the word Anicca was actually used in context. Then, they took what's called a zero Sanskrit approach, basically hitting reset on old assumptions. And finally, they did a phonetic analysis, breaking the word down into its core sounds to see what they do. And when you do that, when you break Anicca down into its building blocks, it's fascinating. The sound ah basically works like a no or a block. Mi means leads to or results in, and Ika, this is the important one, means will, desire, or even control. So suddenly, this isn't a word about the world out there. It becomes a word about our experience of the world. So where does this new understanding take us? It takes us out of the audience and puts us right on the stage. We go from being a passive spectator watching a changing world to being an active practitioner dealing with a very real, very personal truth. And this comparison just lays it all out, doesn't it? The old spectator's view says impermanence, which implies, oh, well, things change. But this new view, the practitioner's reality, says the word means uncontrollable. And the implication there? It's not just things change, it's things don't obey my will. Wow, that's a massive shift from an observation about the world to a feeling inside of us.
So let's just nail this down. The really crucial point here is that Anicca isn't actually about things being temporary. It's about the fact that they are fundamentally beyond our control. It describes a universe that just doesn't bend to our personal wishes.
Okay, I know that's a pretty big idea to wrestle with, so let's make it super concrete. We're going to walk through 4 analogies that bring this concept right into our modern lives. This is where it'll really start to click. First up, the broken remote. Imagine your mind is like a TV, and you're holding the remote control. You are mashing the happy button, trying to change the channel, but the sadness channel just won't turn off. The problem isn't that the channels exist. The real suffering, the real frustration, comes from the fact that the remote in your hand feels completely useless. That feeling of powerlessness, that is Anicca.
Or how about this one? You hop into a self-driving car and you tell it, take me to the beach. But the car's system just ignores you and starts heading for a mountain you had no interest in seeing. The car is definitely moving, yeah. But the real stress, that pit in your stomach, comes from realizing you can't steer. You are not in control of the journey.
Okay, here's one I think a lot of people will recognize. Think about a teenager. You, the parent, have a desire, and Ika, for them to go down a certain path. That desire results in, that's the ni, you trying to guide them. But what you get back is a block, a negation, the ah, a big, fat no. The pain there doesn't come from your child changing, it comes from that gut-wrenching realization that they are their own person and ultimately beyond your control.
And for our last one, just picture this. You're at the beach, you built this amazing sandcastle, a big wave starts rolling in, and you stand there, hands out, and you yell, "Stop!" at the ocean. Of course, the wave just keeps coming. It sounds absurd, but we do this all the time. We forget that the universe, just like that wave, has absolutely no obligation to listen to us. The suffering is in the yelling, not in the tide.
And this quote just sums it all up perfectly. The problem is not that the TV screen changes, but that the remote doesn't work in my hand.
It's not about the world being in flux, it's about the deep friction we feel when we try to control a reality that is, by its very nature, uncontrollable.
So what? Why does this matter so much? Is it just a cool bit of linguistic trivia? No way. Understanding this one little shift doesn't just change a definition, it completely reframes the entire path to finding real, lasting peace.
Because it gets right to the heart of what we call suffering, or dukkha. The old view says suffering is just our reaction to change. But this new view is so much more precise. It says suffering is the stress, the exhaustion, the constant battle that comes from fighting to control things that were never controllable in the first place.
And that realization shows us the way forward. Peace, or nibbana, isn't about finally winning the fight and getting the universe to do what you want. It's about seeing, really seeing, that the world doesn't run on your personal desires. And this is key, recognizing that this isn't a personal failure. It's just the nature of reality. The path is to simply stop the futile effort, to let go of that exhausting struggle. That act of letting go, that is true peace.
So in the end, what's the big takeaway? If all our suffering comes from furiously mashing buttons on a remote that doesn't work, then peace isn't about fixing the TV or finding a better signal. It's about having the wisdom and the courage to just put down the remote. It's such a simple idea, but man, what a profound shift in how to live. So, what remote are you still holding on to?